Okay, hello, all you parents of teenagers. This is Pastor David Harrelson again, and this is part 2 of Are You Enabling Your Teens' Bad Behavior? I'm still waiting on comments back from our first session or stage 1, I guess, video number 1, which was actually 2 parts because I got interrupted. But I'm still waiting on comments back from that. Please give me some feedback so I kind of know which direction to take this thing. I'm a little bit new to this, and I don't want to miss the point here because I'm not delivering the right information. So let me know what you think, and let's pick up where we left off real quick. One of the things that I said in the first segment was stay calm and parent on. It's very important to do that. One of the lessons that I teach the kids all the time is, sometimes the worst decision you can possibly make is not to make a decision. Indecisiveness causes a lot of other problems. So stay calm and parent on. Now, just to recap a little bit, these are a few things that every parent of a teenager needs to know. Teenagers are not your child anymore. We talked about that in the first segment. They're not adults. They're not children anymore. They're teenagers, and we have to deal with them in an age-appropriate way. That's what we're going to talk about in segment 2 here. Understanding your kid's maturity and identifying what stage they are in is key. It's very, very critical. And we're going to talk about 3 different stages that all teenagers are in. Yours may be in stage 1, and maybe in stage 3, maybe in stage 2, but I'm going to help you identify what stage that they're in. Because here's the deal. Teenagers, they want control. They're made that way. God made them so that when they hit a certain age, they're going to want to start taking control and asserting their own power, their own ideas and things like that. That's just normal. And sometimes for parents it's hard to take, but it is a normal stage that they go through. They demonstrate that often in different ways, and that's how we can better understand what stage of maturity or stage of immaturity that they're in. And remember this, it's about the stage, it's not about the age. So you may have a 12-year-old that is in stage 3, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, or you may have an 18-year-old that's still in stage 1. So it's not about the age, it's about the stage. So stage 1, this is how you identify these 3 stages. Stage 1, selfish, immature behavior, throwing fits, not cooperating. You give them something to do, or ask them to put the video game down, ask them to put the phone down for a little bit, and what you get is selfish, immature behavior, throwing a fit, not cooperating whatsoever, just basically having a big old temper tantrum. That would be stage 1. Stage 2 of maturity would be cooperating with the parent with minimal attitude and being willing to negotiate to some degree. So you're experiencing some cooperation, you're not getting too much pushback, maybe an eye roll, maybe a heavy sigh, maybe a slow moving, dragging their feet or whatever, but they're still getting it done, and they're open to a little bit of negotiation. And hopefully you are too, but they're at a stage where you can negotiate with them a little bit. It doesn't have to be because I said so anymore. It can be a little bit of a negotiation. Stage 3, doing chores on their own without even being told, just getting up, making their bed, cleaning their room, whatever other chores that you may have assigned them. You don't have to go around. You may have to, have you done your chores lately? I still have to do that, even with my 16-year-old. It's nice when I don't have to do that, but I kind of expect to have to say, "Have you done your chores yet?" What I don't expect to have to do is remind them 4, 5, 6 times and then start issuing all kinds of consequences because it's still not getting done. That's not acceptable at all. So stage 3, doing chores without being told. And another part of stage 3 is accepting the consequences for their behavior without arguing. This is pretty key to understanding where your teenager is on the maturity scale. If they can understand that they made a mistake, there's going to be consequences for that mistake, and they can agree to accept those consequences without throwing a fit, without arguing, and then just moving on past that, then you have a teenager that's at stage 3. So those are the 3 stages that I want you to identify in each of your teenagers and be cognizant of the stage that they're in so that, number 1, you know how to address the behavior, and number 2, what options you may have in dealing with the teenager, and number 3, so that you can recognize progress. If you don't understand where they are, then it's kind of hard to give them an attaboy or an attagirl when you're noticing a level up in stage. So understand where that they are and be able to recognize when they make that transition from stage 1 to stage 2, from stage 2 to stage 3, and acknowledge it. Let them know. Just say, hey, that was a very mature response to something that would have 6 months ago caused a humongous argument. And we would have been, yelling and screaming and throwing things, and it would have been a big deal. And it wasn't a big deal, and I just want to acknowledge that because you're growing up and you're maturing. And I appreciate that. I thank God for that in you. That type of information, that type of feedback for them is very, very helpful.